Hi everyone, welcome to episode 97 of the TV Knitting Podcast. I know last week I said episode was 97, however I was incorrect. Episode 96 was last week's episode. So I'm going to be dubbing this episode 97 2.0 as not to confuse the episode order. So welcome. For those of you who are new, welcome to the show. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. My name is Sharon, and I'm also known as Stitch Mistress on the internet. And on Instagram, I am TV Knitting Stitch Mistress. So this show is going to be mostly a recap of Vogue Knitting Live. I hope you enjoy it. And before we start, let me go through a little bit of housekeeping. I have a YouTube subscriber incentive going on right now, and I am almost at 250, and when I get to 300, I'm going to have a giveaway. So if you're an iTunes listener, subscribe on YouTube. If you're new to the show, subscribe, and then go onto Ravelry and go into the TV Knitting Podcast group and post in the YouTube subscriber thread and just tell me that you've subscribed. And when I reach 300 subscribers, I will have a giveaway. And then again at 500, I'm going to have a pretty big giveaway. I'm going to give away a $50 gift certificate to the Loopy U. You do not have to be a member of my group to join this contest. I know a lot of you, it's hard when you have a lot of groups, so you don't have to be a member of the group. It's fine. And yeah, you could just be a guest and tell me that you've subscribed, so no worries about that. So let me show you the prize that I have for 300 subscribers, and it's gorgeous and amazing. I received the prize on Friday, and this is it. It is a gorgeous skein of mustache yarns, and this is in the Martian Rainbow colorway, and it's an OCD, I believe. I'm not sure if this is OCD. Sometimes she separates the two skeins so you can have perfectly matched socks. It doesn't say that on here, but it might be. Not sure. Anyway, it's gorgeous nonetheless. It's a color I don't even have, so don't feel sorry for me. I have tons of mustache yarn. I ordered a lot last year. And this will be on my list because it's stunning. So 300 subscribers, and I will draw for this fabulous prize. So good luck, everybody. Tell your friends to subscribe. So thank you so much, Stacy, for donating this absolutely stunningly beautiful skein to the show. I really, really appreciate it. And you are just a sweetheart and just a fantastic dyer, wonderful person. Can't wait to meet up with you this year at a festival. Okay, so let's get right to my topic for the day, and that is Vogue Knitting Live 2016. I went on Friday, 2 days ago, and I had just the most fabulous time in the city. I am not a city person, and it takes a lot to get me down there. It's only an hour and a half by train for me, and it's so easy to get to the city, and I very rarely go. It's just not my scene. However, once I go there and get there, I just always really enjoy my day in the city. So I decided to go on Friday because I originally was going to take Susan B. Anderson's shawl class, which is on Friday afternoon. but I got closed out. So I decided to take her class in the morning, which is a class about toy knitting. And I am not a toy knitter. I have never knit a toy. I've crocheted a toy, and I actually enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed the finishing of it more than I enjoyed the crochet part. And I'll show it to you someday. It's here. It's in this room. I gave it to Emily, and she has it somewhere. So we had to do homework for the class. We had the class is Egg to Owl. And this is the adorable little pattern for the egg and the owl. And it's an egg that turns into this adorable little owl. So I had my egg knit and got to the class, said hi to Susan, and hi again, Susan. It was so great meeting you. And Susan and I knew each other from the intranet. She watches the show. She follows me on Instagram. I follow her. So it was great meeting up that day, and we chatted a bit during class. And so it was an awesome class. She taught so many techniques, and I learned some new techniques from her. The first of which was how to pick up stitches for this toy. So what you do, I haven't finished it, but I will finish it, and you'll see it on the show when I do. I'm hoping to finish it this week. So what you do is you knit this egg, and then you pick up stitches around the egg for the body. And then eventually this egg part will go up into the body. So anyway, so you pick up stitches around this garter stitch tab that you do on the egg. And what's interesting is I normally would pick up stitches in between the garter bumps, but she said for a toy, what she recommends is picking up the stitches right in the garters, right in the bump. So that was a new technique for me, and that was awesome. And then she showed some great embroidery techniques for the face. She showed a wonderful technique for closing up your pinhole start when you start an item and you want the hole to be completely closed. What I've been doing is I've been doing a start where you just pull the strand and you close up the pinhole, and it's fiddly. So she said, no, you don't have to do that. And she just showed us how to close that up just by using your tapestry needle. So I may try that on my burn raising squares rather than do the fiddly cast on, because it is a pain. So yeah, some great techniques. She gave us a handout with the techniques. So well worth going in for that class. It started at 9. So I was on the train really early in the morning. But that's okay. So anyway, my friend met me, and she lives in the next town over, and so she just took the train. She got the next stop. She met me on the train, and we took the train in, walked over to Times Square from Grand Central, and got there right on time, and enjoyed the class. So that was fabulous. But then during the class, I find out, and I should have known this, but I didn't know this, the marketplace didn't open till 5 p.m. on Friday. I thought the marketplace would be open during the day on Friday. It was not. My mistake. I will know that in the future, because my plan was to take Susan's class, go to the marketplace, have dinner, and hightail it out of the city. No, the marketplace didn't open till 5. So we had to change our plans, and we decided to just wander down to Times Square and see if we could find a restaurant either in Times Square or in a nearby side street. And we were wandering. As we wandered right around the corner, we found a fantastic Mexican fusion type of restaurant. I don't know the name of it, but it was right in Times Square, right near the hotel. And I had an excellent lunch. It was wonderful. We had something called naked tacos, and there was no taco shell or tortilla involved, and it was delicious. Everything was fresh. It had tabbouleh and avocado and olives, and it was delicious. Very, very good. So I enjoyed that very much, and my friend treated me because it's my birthday weekend, so that was fabulous. So we just had a leisurely lunch, and I knitted on my little owl, and we chatted, and it was awesome. And then we walked around Times Square, which was cool. I hadn't been down there in a while, so walked around Times Square, popped in the Hershey store, got a little sample for our dessert after lunch, and yeah, just kind of walked up and down, went to the Gap, of course, because I love the Gap. Didn't buy anything, but it was nice to see the Gap on Times Square. And by that time, it was time for our lecture. So our lecture was from 3:30 to 4:30, and our lecture was basically about pit knitting, where you hold your needle in your pit, in the pit of your arm, and you knit by throwing the yarn, and it's supposedly faster. So I'm a thrower, and my friend is also a thrower, so we thought we would enjoy this class. And she also learned how to knit holding the needle under her pit, so that was interesting. And the lecturer was Debbie Stoller, who's the author of the Stitch and Bitch books, and she was great, really funny. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a snafu with the class, not Debbie's fault at all. They were supposed to provide us with 13-inch knitting needles so we could try the technique. And there were no needles. So actually my friend had some with her, and we were kind of practicing it. And then, Vogue Knitting Live apologized profusely, came up, and they said, we have needles. So they came with these 10-inch needles, which were not going to work. So poor Debbie, I think she was really embarrassed about it. And then it turned out 10 minutes later, they came up with the correct size. So we got some free needles. I got some 10-inch and 13-inch. I think these are size 6. Nope, they're 8s. Size 8 needles. So that's cool. Free needles are always good. Now, I usually knit everything on circulars, so that does not work to hold the needles in your pit. I was trying to knit on these, doing that, and I didn't like it, but I did better if I shoved it kind of in my pants. It's very, very, very interesting. So that was a great lecture, but Vogue Knitting Live is pretty cool. They're a class act, because yesterday I got an email from them apologizing for the lack of materials that they said that they would provide in class, and they offered me another free lecture. So they made it right, which was awesome. We did a little bathroom break and then got in line for the market. Okay. So anyway, I went straight to Jill Draper because I was very excited to find out that Jill was going to be at Vogue Knitting Live, because she was not at Rhinebeck. She did have a studio, her open studio that day, but I did not get up there. I'm usually too tired after wandering around the festival, so I didn't go up to Kingston to her studio. But she had a lovely booth at Vogue Knitting Live, and I specifically went to her booth to buy a skein of Empire. It's huge. It is bigger than my head. And I absolutely adore it. I love the color. I couldn't decide what color I wanted. because I should have really looked for a project before I got there, and I didn't. And I probably would have decided on a different color, but that's okay. She'll probably be there next year. So this skein is Aran weight. It is 1.7 pounds of yarn, 770 grams, 1,280 yards, all in one skein, which is fantastic. Even better, it's a breed-specific yarn. It is 100% Rambouillet. But what's really fun about it is you can knit your entire sweater. If you knit a sweater in one piece and hardly ever have to break your yarn except for the sleeves, because this is one whole 1,200 yards continuous strand of yarn. It's amazing. So I found a pattern. I found some patterns. One pattern is Artichoke French, which is in the Rhinebeck sweater book. And I think I'd like to knit that, but not in this color. I'd like to knit that in green. I look great in green. I found a skein there in a green that would have worked, but I didn't have that pattern in mind. This is a lavender skein. I love lavender. And it's really beautiful. It has lots of variegation within the skein. It's very tonal, so it'll be fun to knit with. And I'm thinking something with some texture to it. I don't know the name of the pattern I'm thinking of, but I'll put it down here. A new pattern just came out for an Aran weight sweater, and it's just a simple, it's not really a real fitted sweater, but it's got a lot of texture. It's got some garter stitch on the side, and it's got a line down the middle, and it's a really cool sweater. Just the pattern just came out, and it was on sale last week. I wish I'd bought it, because I think that's what I'm going to make. But I think this will be a summertime knit, because this can't leave the house. This is not travel knitting, because when I wind it, it's going to be giant. But fun nonetheless. So I'm super excited about casting that on. I have other things that I'm excited about to cast on before I can get to this, but this will be done this year, and I'm thinking it'll be one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. So Rambouillet, it smells very sheepy, and I love that. It's fabulous. So after I got that over with, because I wanted my pick of the colors, we went to Stephen B's shop, and the reason why we wanted to go there was because we wanted to buy Susan B. Anderson's book, and my friend, who's also named Susan, really wanted the book, and I did too, and we wanted her to sign it. So we both purchased this book, Kids Knitting by Susan B. Anderson. And we flipped through it on the train ride home, and I absolutely, see, she signed it. I absolutely love this book. This book is excellent. There's techniques in here that I'll use in my teaching. There are patterns in here that I really want to knit. Case in point, this adorable cat. I want to knit that for Emily. And there's just so many great things about this book that any knitter, whether you're experienced or just beginning, this book has something for everyone. Look at that adorable snowman. So cute. My friend wants to knit that one. There's a headband in here that I'd like to knit for running. I love these too, these bracelets. I think those are adorable. You could put beads on them. I mean, this book is awesome. It shows you how to change colors. And here's the headband. Super cool. So this was a great purchase, and I highly recommend that you get it because I think it should be on every knitter's shelf. Not the least of which if you want to teach anyone to knit, not just children. So it shows you not only the throwing method, it shows you the continental method as well, which is really cool. And great illustrations and very well laid out. I love the layouts in this book. It's simple and easy to read and easy to follow. It shows you how to read a pattern. And I know a lot of knitters who've been knitting a long time who aren't so great at reading patterns. So, like I said, something for everyone in that book. As far as I'm concerned, there are so many techniques out there and so many different ways to execute techniques. I learn something new every time I take a class. Even though it might be a technique that I do differently, I learn a new way of doing it when I take a class. And I learn something new from everyone who I knit with or I encounter where we talk about knitting. So I love that, and this book is no exception, and Susan's class was no exception. So that's that. I highly recommend. All right. So the other thing I bought at Stephen B's was something that I actually almost ordered online, and I am glad I didn't because I didn't have to pay shipping because I bought it at the show, and that is 2 skeins of Arne and Carlos. They were there at Vogue Knitting Live. I didn't take their class, but apparently they were super fun and just down to earth, and it was a wonderful class. I do not know the name of this color. I know this color has a name online. It's part of, maybe it's spring, I'm not sure. But it's color 03657. And yeah, I think I'm going to knit socks for Rich out of these because I know that Regia is very hard wearing and he's a little bit hard on his socks. So looking forward to doing this. And I got the 2 skeins because I want to knit 2 at a time. So that was my next purchase. Then I purchased a bag, a new knitting bag. And let me look in the pocket. Aha. Okay. So this bag is by Attenti. Apparently the bags are made in California. The vendor told me that this orange part is not real suede, but it smells like suede. It feels like suede. I don't know. But here's the bag. I think it's beautiful. Gorgeous fabric placement. Inside the bag is my favorite leopard stripes. And I bought this specifically for knitting things 2 at a time. And you can see my project in there. I started the sleeves on my sweater last night. So I'm knitting them 2 at a time. And they match the bag, which makes me super happy. So inside the bag are 4 pockets plus a big spot in the middle to keep your project. And there are 4 pockets on the outside. So I have my pattern in here. And I'm super happy with this. This handle folds up into this loop, and that's how it closes, and you can hold it on your wrist as you're knitting. So yes, Attenti bags, beautiful. Very happy with it. And I think I'll get a lot of use out of this bag. It's just so cute and small. It's a good size just for one little project if I just want to dash out the door with it. So yeah, so that was a great purchase. I was super excited about that. And yeah, I bought some buttons because I still have not put buttons on my tubularity. Which it's starting to get cold enough to wear it, so I think I'm going to be putting these buttons on today or tomorrow. And I went to the vintage button shop. That's a great shop. My friend loves that. She's a sewist, and she actually has a big collection of vintage buttons herself. And she may sell some to this lady, but anyway. So I bought these like white shell buttons, which I think go very nicely with my shawl. So I have 3 of them. They're pretty well matched, so. They were only $6 for the 3 buttons. So I was happy with that. Let me put them back in the bag before I lose them. And I found this interesting little shop. And the reason I like to go to these festivals is to get things that I can't usually get locally, or new things that I haven't ever seen online. But this was a new shop I had never seen before. And the shop is called Valet. And they had some really interesting things. And I actually had to ask her what this was. These are yarn keys. And I said, "Excuse me, what are yarn keys?" I had no idea. So basically what it is, it's hold your yarn label. Never lose key information. So it's got this little tab where you can put your yarn label. Here, I'll demonstrate with the Attenti. So you put your yarn label in that little tab, and then you attach it to your yarn ball. You just slip it on the yarn, and there you have your tag. I don't know about you, I'm always losing my yarn tag. So that was really cool. So it came in a pack of 6 yarn keys. Just super fun. So that was, I thought that was so unusual. I never heard of anything like that. And then I got this other thing, Stitcher's GPS. And it works like the same principle as highlighter tape, which I use all the time, where you can use it to highlight your rows for lace knitting or Fair Isle or whatever you want to do. And it also has little check marks that you can put on your chart, and it's just neat. And I love gadgets. I'm a gadget girl. So I thought this was really unusual and lots of fun. So I'm glad I picked that up. And then one other kind of weird purchase, unusual purchase. We were walking out of the market, and there was this table outside with a woman, and she had on these beautiful mitts, and they're called Dragonscale mitts. And I thought, that has my kid's name all over it. Because my kids are big into fantasy, World of Warcraft, Game of Thrones, that kind of stuff. I thought, my kids would love these mitts. So I took a picture of the mitts and then I sent it to them. And both of them were like, yes, we love the mitts. So you don't buy yarn. She doesn't sell yarn, but she sells these scales. And I would liken them to beads, really. And you just basically put it over the needle and knit them right in to your project. Here's a green one. So my daughter loves green, so I got her green and black. And my son said he wanted a pair, and I got him blue and black. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my leftover hand spun from my Rhinebeck sweater, my CVM fleece. I have a lot of it left over. I didn't even know what I was going to do with it, but I don't want to waste it. So I'm going to make the mitts with these cool little gadgets, which is really, really fun. And yeah, so that's the pattern. The pattern was $5. And then the scales, and I have yarn for it, so awesome. And that was basically my day. We finished shopping about 7:30 in the evening, which wasn't too bad. And we walked to the train, got on the train, had a leisurely train ride home. I got some biscotti for dessert. We had our dessert on the train and chatted about our day and looked through our book, and we had a lovely train ride back. I got back, the train got back to the station at about 10 o'clock, and the train station is 10 minutes from my house. It's not far. So there's no excuse for me not to go to the city more often. All in all, it was just a wonderful day, a fantastic trip to the city, and I am super glad that I went. Next year, I'm thinking, it's always my birthday weekend on the long weekend in January. So next year, my birthday will be on the holiday. It will be on Martin Luther King Day, my actual birthday, which is on a Monday. So I thought, and I have kind of a big birthday coming up next year, I thought for that birthday, I would celebrate by going for the whole weekend. I'm thinking of purchasing one of the packages and staying at the hotel for the weekend with my friend, because my friend is interested. So we could split the hotel room cost, and the hotel rooms aren't that bad. I thought New York City, the hotel rooms would be out at sky high, but they're not that bad, especially if you split with a friend. And that way we could go to the gala and the dinner, and that would be a lot of fun. So I'm thinking of doing that. And then maybe our husbands could meet us down in the city because we're all friends. So that would be fun. Maybe they could meet us Friday or Saturday for dinner. If I could drag Rich to the city. He's from the city. He's from Queens, and he goes there less than I do. I think it's been 10 years since he's been. So he's fine as long as he doesn't drive there. He's a horrible city driver. He's very aggressive. He will get shot. So we don't drive in the city at all. Anyway, that was more information that you needed to know. But so I think that's about all I have to say today about Vogue Knitting Live. I'll be back again next week, and hopefully I will have just about finished my sweater, my fingering weight Amy Herzog custom fit sweater. And yeah, because the front and the back are done. I don't have the front up here to show you, but you'll see it next week. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you next week, and enjoy. Cheers!